Welcome to a present from the past.
The show for all your paranormal needs.
Thanks for tuning in to Presents from the Past. Had to remember the name of the show for a second there. My name is Weldon Trantham. I will be your host. And, of course, as always, we now have Mama Tosh joining us today. How you doing today, Mama Tosh?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Another day, another fun day. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the difference between evil entities and demons. So this ought to be interesting. I know I've had my fair share of experience with at least one of those, um, but to determine whether it was a demon or just an evil entity, I guess we'll find out by the end of the show. So, Mama Tosh, in your opinion, what would be the difference between an evil entity and a demon?
A demon. Well, to me, a demon is an entity, a fallen angel, per se, that comes from the depths of quote hell. That would be the easiest definition that I could give for it. Um, as far as a dark entity, I think that those are ones that have manifested and have become manifested with all the negativity that is surrounding. So it could be a person that has passed, but when they passed, they didn't have any resolved. Um, their issues were not resolved per se, and I feel like if they were evil, a non-happy person, a negative person in life, that can carry on into the afterlife, especially if they have not um, come to grips or come to terms with things that has happened to them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with most of that. All of it. I'm just one of the things I've heard about. There was a gentleman that proposed an idea or a theory to me a long time ago, and I'm going to be completely honest. I do not know who first came up with the theory. I just know who proposed it to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you know him, Adrian Scalf. He was for TAPS, the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, we went out
Mm-hmm.
to Arkansas. He was the one that joined us out
Oh
there.
yes. I
Yeah.
know. Yes. Uh huh.
Okay. So he was the one that proposed, or at least to me, the idea that the demons were from when the earth was flooded, and
Mm-hmm.
it was all the entities or people that had died in the flood,
Mm-hmm.
and all the false prophets, all the false whatever you want to call them that
Mm-hmm.
died during the flood
Mm-hmm.
and still inhabit the earth.
Okay.
And I thought that was an interesting theory because I've never heard anything like that
No,
before.
that's
He
the
was the first
first.
one that kind of brought it up, and I was like, "That's an interesting thought."
Mm-hmm.
Does that kind of mix with the demons that were thrown out of heaven, or is it just those are the only ones? You know,
Right.
because I mean, anybody that has read the Bible knows that you know Lucifer and the people that, or the entities that followed Lucifer were kicked out of heaven
Mm-hmm.
and were pretty much given earth and hell to rule over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now, uh, going back with the more the demon side of it than the evil entity side of it,
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't know. In all these horror movies, all these ghost movies, any of them that have anything to do with the demon, it's always like the person is trying to get the demon's name.
Right.
what is the purpose of getting the demon name?
That's a good question.
One of the theories I've heard is that it actually gives you power over the demon
That's yeah.
if you know their name.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
And the only reason I bring up a question on that is because the story from when I was younger, my experience with the Ouija board and the either demon or evil entity that we came in contact with. The only reason it makes me kind of think maybe it wasn't a demon is because it gave up its name and told us, this is my name.
Okay.
And so it kind of makes you wonder. But at the same time, even though I know the name, to this day, me and my sister will not mention that name
Right.
for the fear of something coming back.
Right. Yeah. I don't blame you there.
And so, does it really give you power over the entity, or does that give you the entity power over you?
I guess it's all how you say their name.
Right.
And the content of which you are calling their name, per se.
Yeah, that I mean, it's almost like, are we doing it in a taunting way? Are we just discussing the person or the entity, and it happened to be like, oh, okay, they're talking about me now. Evidently, they want me to show up.
Right.
For instance, I mean, the one time that me and her actually discussed some of the stuff that happened in our childhood, we were driving from my brother's house, and we just started talking about it again. His name came up, and then out of nowhere, a car just swerved right in front of us, almost running us off the road.
Oh, wow.
And then, I mean, it was freaky as hell because that car was nowhere to be seen.
Wow.
And then out
Wow.
of nowhere, we almost get side smacked by this car, and it's like, okay, what the heck just happened here?
Was this coincidence or
Yeah.
was this something?
Yeah, so we're like, okay, yeah, we're done talking about it. We're not bringing it up anymore, you know?
Right.
So,
Right. I don't blame you there.
So, but I mean, with demons, from my experience and from what I've learned over the years, and I would like to study it. I would like to, study demonology, but I also know that there's such a heavy price with
Yeah.
being a demonologist because you pretty much have to realize you're putting everything at risk.
Oh yeah, it's a spiritual, psychological, physical warfare that basically you've got to have it together in your relationship with a higher being, fully in checked, in order for me, in my opinion, to be able to do that, with the demons and per se. I know when we get calls and they mention demons,
Yeah.
we kind of we'll listen to what they have to say, but that is one big thing we don't do,
Yeah.
and that's okay with me, because there are other groups out there that's what they do.
Yeah.
They do it all, and
And for all those thrill seekers out there that want to, oh no, we want to only see demons. We only want to deal with demons. Have fun with it. Good luck.
good luck.
Wish you the best.
Because it does take a toll on you physically, spiritually, and psychologically.
They will definitely latch onto you quicker than anything else if they, feel like they may gain some power there, or, they have an in.
Right.
They'll take it.
They'll take it, and it's hard to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Yeah.
You could have the house blessed by a priest. You could, sage it. You could have an exorcism of your house, of yourself, but it's still going to be there. It's still going to be there.
Yeah. I haven't even heard when they've had to do exorcisms that, excuse me, that it's not just one and it's done. They
Mm-mm.
have to do multiple exorcisms.
Yes.
And I mean, if you point in case, you look at like I don't remember the name of the actual girl, but like the name of the movie was Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Right. Yes.
That movie I cannot watch by myself at night.
Yeah.
No, thank you. It scares the hell out of me.
Mhm. Mhm.
But they had to do so many exorcisms, and by the time it was all said and done, the girl had died from starvations.
Right.
And it was just, and they were trying to charge the priest with it and everything. And so it just shocks me how much effort there was put into getting rid of demons. And so if that follows you home and that attaches to you, just look at some of the possible outcomes of having a demon attached to you.
Right. Right.
Now, moving from demons to evil entities.
Mhm.
So, would you say, I'm going to kind of reference back to one of our cases where there was an entity of an older lady that was upstairs
Mhm.
that the entity of children that were downstairs
Mhm.
did not want us to go anywhere near the older lady upstairs.
Right.
Would you say that's a bit of an evil entity, or is that...
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. When they have like evil intent, and I guess we should define what evil is. I mean.
Yeah, if you're going to define evil intentions, that's obviously something to do harm, or like if they want to destroy a family, stuff. Even demons will do this part though.
Right.
They'll latch onto somebody and pretty much feed you such negative energy that you get to the point where you start treating your family differently. There's constant fighting within the family. And it eventually breaks it down to where there's nothing.
Mhm.
And evil entities can do that. They can also do harm, which, scratches and stuff like that, just like demons can.
Right.
It's like where the line gets drawn is, I guess, the demon has a lot more power and is a lot harder to get rid of than just an evil entity.
Mhm.
But then you have categories of evil entities.
Right. Just like you have categories of demons as well.
Right. And it's like you start looking at categories of evil entities. You got shadow figures.
Mhm.
You have, people called the Slender Man, something of a evil entity.
Mhm.
You got, oh boy, there's some out there, skin crawlers,
Yeah.
or
Skin-
shifters.
Skin shapers or.
You know what we're referencing, Shane?
Skinwalkers.
There we
that's
go.
it.
Thank you, Shane.
Yeah. Skinwalkers.
The bald-headed wonder from the middle of the room. Anyway, so yeah, skinwalkers. And funny thing about funny thing. One of the people that I was introduced to through my ex-girlfriend was a gentleman named Audie, who his family is Native American.
Mhm.
And he was telling me he's actually had experience with skinwalkers
Mhm.
and how it scared the heck out of him and his brother.
Mhm.
If I can never get a hold of him, I will definitely try and get him out to do the
Yeah.
show and
Yeah.
tell some of the stories, because just talking to that guy, he's got some amazing stories, and he's probably just a little bit younger than me.
Mhm.
And he was telling me stories about the skinwalkers, the entity being trapped in a rock that he saw as a kid. It's
Wow.
crazy.
Wow.
It's like, I want to get him out here. I want to talk to him. I want to
Right.
talk to him.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, you have different levels of entities, dark entities, and then it's kind of hard to categorize. I can't talk right now. Categorize. There we go. That's the word. You got to categorize the different types of dark entities, and it's all about the displays you get, or what what's the word I'm looking for? For instance, shadow figures, obviously going to be shadows, dark shadows that you see. The Slender Man is going to be a tall, slender. It's more the description of the entity
Right.
to kind of feed back as to far what type of evil entity you're dealing with.
Right.
So,
And I have a thing about shadow people. I've experienced shadow people. In fact, I've had one that has followed me for quite a long time. I don't know who it is per se, but my first experience was at band camp. So that one time at band camp, we were staying at the university in East Texas, and we had stayed in the dorms, and we had a suite mate, so the bathroom conjoined, and so I I could see my roommate on the other side of the room. I was sleeping in my bed, and I, you know how you get that feeling that somebody's just looking
Oh, yeah.
over you,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
So I open my eyes, and there is a figure standing in front of me. And of course, I don't scream, I don't do anything, but I can see I'm thinking at first that maybe it's my roommate. And I look, but she's still in bed.
Right.
So I just calmly just turn over and face the wall now and try and go back to sleep. So the next morning at breakfast, I asked my suite mates, did you come into our room last night?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, not at all. Of course, the next day, yes, or later on that night, yes, they did come in and scare the crap out of us.
Right. Of course.
Um,
Kids got to.
exactly. And so that was my senior year. My freshman year in college, that summer, I had my own little place. It was just a little rinky-dink place, but it was mine, and I was paying rent on it. And my sister, who was 9 at the time, had come to visit me. And I had a twin bed, so we slept on the floor.
Right.
Made a pallet and everything. And I wake up feeling like someone's standing over us. And there again is a shadow person. And I know it was the same one. All I did was, I didn't scream. I didn't want to scare my sister. All I did was put my arm around over her. And that was it.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like we were in danger per se. And of course, I don't know if all shadow people are evil.
Right.
Yes, that is the consensus of people, is that
Yeah. 'Cause,
shadow people are evil.
You hear definitely from these shows and everything. It's like, there's shadow people. There's so much evil in this room, and it's like, I don't necessarily get that they're all evil, but I don't think they're always up to good. I think they're more just there, and there's some that do have malicious intent,
Mm-hmm.
and some that will try and harm people.
Right. And it's almost like, these entities have once lived.
Yeah.
So I truly believe if you were just a negative person in life, that energy cultivates into the afterlife. If you've not come to terms, if you've not, quote, crossed over, then it does manifest, and it just keeps on and keeps on. And so all that energy, and if you had, quote, evil intent and malice and all that in your heart, then that's going to cross over into the afterlife with you, So, but not all people are bad either. So,
Yes, we are.
There are people that have good hearts, and so, when they die, they may not cross over for whatever reason, and that can, but does that mean that they're evil, that they have evil intent? No.
Or are those the ones that kind of become more the guiding, hey, hanging around, making sure nothing's going on, or,
Right.
Giving you a warning that something's about to happen.
Right, exactly. So.
But as far as like evil entities, it's just, I think there's so many questions left there. And, unfortunately, I don't think we have the answers to them. I don't think anybody really has the answer to them. Is there a way to tell if they're an evil entity, or if it's just your, an evil entity or a demon? I think it's going to be very hard to tell unless you're able to actually go in and do a full-on investigation. And if you're a person by yourself that's never done that before, I don't recommend it.
No.
Especially if it's an evil entity, especially if it turns out to be a demon, you really don't want to mess with it. That's definitely something that best left up to the professionals to deal with. Now, if you think you have an evil entity, or just something that you want to get investigated, definitely reach out to your local groups here in Dallas Fort Worth and even beyond Dallas Fort Worth. It's ASAP. But if there's enough key factors, and that's something I need to ask you about because I've been told, oh, well, if there's enough key factors to indicate that it's a demon, that we won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of those key factors that we're looking for? But again, if you're in the DFW area, you want somebody to come and check stuff out, ASUP Inc., ASUPinc.org. Great organization. Both me and Natasha are part of them. We'll definitely come out, do full-on investigations and everything. But back to my question about how would we determine between if it's just an evil entity that we want to investigate and a demon that we say, run?
A lot of people will say, I think we've been possessed. Someone's been possessed. They're not acting right. So if they say, possession, or that's probably the key word, possession. We think it's a demon. If they just say the word demon or possession, that's it. And then, of course, we listen. There's a lot of, when we do an investigation before, so when a client comes in, we have a lot of questions that we ask. We ask about medication. We ask about, drug use. Things like physical things have been physically touched.
And let me just chime in on there.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that want to reach out to ASAP about it, we're not judging you because of whatever medication or whatever drug use you may be using.
No.
But you have to understand that anything that affects the mind can play into why certain things are happening. So we have to get all spectrums. It's sort of like if you're going to a doctor because you're having some sort of rare reaction to a drug you took or whatever, they have to know in order to know how to treat it.
Right.
Same boat. If you have something that's causing you hallucinations and you're telling us that you're seeing this and that, we need to know that before we even go into the investigation. That way we can kind of, if that's not a factor, we can rule that out. If it is a factor, we can take that into account.
Right.
But we're not judging you at all.
No. Like Weldon said, we're not there to judge anyone because, we all have to take medication at one time in our life. And a lot of people don't know side effects. So that's one thing, doctors will prescribe something, but they don't really tell us the side effects. And so one of our jobs is, okay, if you're taking medication or whatever, we'll look that up for you. And we'll see if that is part of, the problem. If not, because remember, when we're coming in, we're not coming in saying, oh, there's ghost or there's, an entity or whatnot. We're there first to debunk.
Yeah.
And so that's our first job, is to debunk. Once we've debunked or we can't debunk, then that's when we start to say, okay, is it paranormal?
Right.
But like you had said, we got to level out the playing field first. We got to see what we're dealing with. And so some of those factors go in. Personality changes, and so forth. So that's another one. The personality changes, and we're like, okay, are you on medication? Is there new medication? Are they off medication? That's another thing. Are they off medication? And so that can play a big part too.
Oh, definitely. All right. I know there's probably a million other questions out there, Bart. One of these days, I'm going to learn how to talk, and it will be glorious. Who is really someone texting me right now? I just want to throw my phone across the room. Anyway, I know there's a lot more questions out there about ghosts, demons, evil entities, and things like that. And I know we probably didn't answer all your questions because there's a lot of questions out there. And in order for us to sit down and answer everybody's question, the show would be going nonstop 24/7. And I don't think Natasha likes me that enough to stay here nonstop 24/7.
Oh, I love this. This is great.
Well, I don't think Shane likes it that much. Okay, we're staying on the air for 24/7, taking everybody's call. No, but yeah, we're if you have questions about it, feel free to reach out to us. My website is A Presence from the Past. Yes, I'm still working on getting that S out of there. .com, and also on Facebook's A Presence from the Past. If you want to listen to one of our other podcasts, I have other ones on my website. Apple Music should also be picking it up. I'll have to double check that one. And then we're also now new to YouTube. I got one video up so far. Last time we did one, and then I'm going to be putting this one up as soon as we get done. May take me a minute because the house has like 1 million people over there, and
Right.
it's crazy.
Yeah, but we'd love to have y'all ask questions, have comments. We'd love to, if you have a question, please feel free to, like Weldon said, reach out to us, and we'd love to try and answer it.
And don't forget to share our Facebook page with your friends. Share our podcast with your friends. We want as many people listening as possible. Yes, I'm the selfish one like that. I want everybody to listen to me. But no, we just, we want people to listen. And if any of your friends has any interest in the paranormal, share our podcast with them. Let them know we're out here. We'll talk to them and all that fun stuff. I think that's about all I got. You got anything else, Natasha?
No, you're running the show.
Please. All right, guys. Thank y'all.
Bye.
Bye.